Hi, Michael here for another edition of Cup of Talks. Here we are in the midwinter here. Still a little chilly in the studio, mid-January. I want to talk about music and artificial intelligence today. It's a topic that's all over the internet, and it's really a dominant topic right now, as it should be, because it's a big thing. There's all these musicians and all these people crying about how AI is going to destroy the music industry and destroy everything and creativity and all this. I think it's half right. I'm going to relate this to my own experience in the past, back when digital drum machines first came on the scene. The famous Linn drum, the LM1, and then after that, there was another Linn model, and then EMU, the makers of the emulator samplers, came up with the Drumulator 8-bit drum machine, digital drum machine. It was back in about, I think, late 70s or 1980 when that came out, the Drumulator. I was working in a lot of bands back then. I was writing music. I was making recordings. I was teaching. I was doing a lot of stuff. And I saw this whole drum machine thing appear. And people were like, oh no, it's going to put drummers out of business and nobody will hire drummers anymore because they'll just program these digital drum machines. Instead of just crying wolf and running to the hills, I went out and bought a Drumulator. Cost me over $1,000, which in 1980 was a lot of money. Especially for me then, because I didn't have a lot of money, although I was working all the time. But still, that was a lot of money. And what is that, 45 years ago. That was a lot of money. But I went out and bought the Drumulator. I used it for my own music recordings. I actually used it to study rhythm because unlike today's digital drum stuff that you have in your computer and you have it up on a nice monitor and you can see everything in a big 27-inch monitor and you can see it all and you can take your mouse and you can manipulate it and that. On those drum machines, there was a little window, but it didn't really give any information. You had to see everything up here. You had to understand the rhythm that you were making in your mind. And you had to see it in your mind and then play the buttons and program it in. So I learned a lot about rhythm by programming the Drumulator because I had to understand what makes up this rhythm. Unlike I can sit down on a drum set and just play and I don't have to think about it and I'm just playing and feeling my way through it. To program the digital drum machine, I had to actually understand intrinsically what everything was doing and also how to make it sound more human. The problem with so many of the older recordings from that era that used a drum machine is the people who programmed them were like producers or even the artists themselves, and they didn't know anything about drumming. So they would just kind of put in one static drum beat. And that would go for the whole 3-4 minutes of the song. If you listen to some of those songs today, they're pretty dated because it's just monotonous, robotic rhythm. It doesn't change. It doesn't flex. There's no human feel to it. So along with doing drum programming for myself and my own needs, I got to know how to do it. So I was programming different drum machines for other people and teaching about it. I even wrote articles about using a digital drum machine for Modern Drummer magazine. So I got a lot of work doing that. But I wasn't afraid of it, so I embraced it. And I made it work for me. I still have my drumulator. It's over in a case over there. I should pull it out and fire it up one of these days. But it was a great machine back then. And the thing that I could do is I could create complex drum parts, not just the over and over. I could have a verse beat and fills, and a chorus beat and fills, and a bridge beat and fills, intros and outros and all that. I programmed the drum machine to sound just like I would play drums. And if they were volume levels and accents and sort of nuances available, not all of them had that, but some of the machines did, I would try to put those in there to get a more human feel. So the things that I programmed were much better than, just your normal person, your guitar player or producer or somebody who would program it. And some people listened to my stuff and didn't realize it was a digital drum machine, because I was able to program it convincingly to sound like a real drummer. So once drummers embraced them, we became programmers, because we knew music, we knew rhythm, we knew beats, we knew how to make it sound and feel more realistic. So nowadays, we still have digital drums, we have loops, drummers play on top of them, and we do all this sort of stuff. So that brings us to artificial intelligence. The first thing you need to understand is that there is no artificial intelligence. The idea of artificial intelligence would be something that could think for itself, come up with its own ideas, that could actually create. But AI today is just an algorithm, and it needs a database to work from. So they scrape through the internet. There's these music programs like Suno and some others where you can type in commands and say, I want like Elton John singing a thrash metal song in the key of E minor, something like that. And it'll spit something out like that with a likeness of Elton John's voice and thrash metal and the whole thing. And then you can tweak it from there and say, make it a little more of this or a little more of that. But the AI is not creating that. It has an algorithm and it has a database, and it goes through that database and pulls things out of it and puts something together that goes along with what was asked for. And the problem with AI is they scrape everywhere. I mean, I'm sure you've read a lot of articles about, they're taking your data and throwing it into AI to learn how to do stuff. I mean, they're probably going into Spotify is probably selling all your stuff to some AI programmer. And they go in there and they learn all the music, and then they can regurgitate it. But the thing with today's AI, it's not intelligent. It's just a facsimile, an imitation, a regurgitation of all the data it scraped. It will get better. And there's convincing songs out there. There's already been AI hits on Spotify. And there's been AI music on YouTube and other places. And places are starting to ban all of that because it's not creative. And I don't care what you say. Sitting at a keyboard and making prompts to have a program spit out music that's not being overly creative. Honestly, really. Even if it was someone like me or someone like John Williams, who scores all the Star Wars albums and soundtracks and Indiana Jones and all that. Even if John Williams was to input some stuff into AI to get a film score, that's not being creative. That's just letting an algorithm steal data from somewhere and regurgitate it. So where does that lead us to? Well, it leads us to these amazing instruments that I'm surrounded with. Sound workers, however you want to describe yourself. I describe myself as a sound worker. I don't think we really have to worry about AI because what we do is so specifically real. What we do depends upon the vibrations of our instruments moving molecules in the air to reach and affect a person, both orally, through their hearing, and physically, through feeling those vibrations. Now you can watch my videos here, and there's a little performance segment before this one, and I have a lot of performance videos up on YouTube, and you can go on Bandcamp and you can download my recordings. I have a lot of albums up there, and then you can listen to them at home. You can listen to them through monitor speakers, stereo speakers, headphones, little earbuds, whatever. But that sound is all recreated sound. It's not the original sound. It's sound that's been turned into electrical impulses, turned into ones and zeros, and then gone through channels, and the ones and zeros have been turned back into electrical impulses so that the speakers vibrate and produce a facsimile of what I actually played. And you can sit at home all you want, and you can have the monster $10,000 stereo speaker system, and you can blast my recordings or somebody else's recordings, and it will sound really good. It could even sound great, but it's not like being here, being present with all of these instruments and feeling the sound and vibrations firsthand. That's where I think we have an advantage because, yes, I mean, please listen to my recordings and watch my videos and all that. You know, it's still good, but if you were expecting to have maximum experience, you need to experience these instruments in person. You need to feel the vibrations moving the air molecules and coming and hitting you. You need to feel that. So as far as AI, I'm sure somebody's going to come out with, and they probably have already, AI sound healing music with pseudo gongs and pseudo crystal singing bowls and all that. And it'll probably sound really pretty and really nice, but it won't be creative. And will people really respond to it? People who know anything? I mean, I can listen to a lot of that stuff. It's just like AI videos. I watch videos and I go, that's not a real video. That's a fake video. You can tell, at least at this present moment in January of 2026, you can still tell to a great degree when a video is faked. It's going to get better, and it's going to be harder to tell. And the same with audio, with music. It's going to get better, and it'll be much more difficult to tell. Are these real musicians making this music, or is this just some computer bullshit? It will get harder as things get better. But again, for us, I think we're safe because people want the experience. They want the live experience. They want to feel those vibrations. And also, along with that, if they come to a gong session, they're also coming for community. You have a group of people, 10, 20, 30, 100. How many people come to your sound session? It's a group of people. They're all there with the same idea, the same purpose, and there is a sense of community. And many people come and they know each other. They bring their friends and family. They meet people there. Oh, hey, good to see you here. All that, you know. And other people meet at the first time, and maybe they start talking and they have things in common because they both like sound and other things. So it becomes a community event. And that is something we are sorely lacking today, and something that we hunger for is community, especially with all this internet stuff, and especially after COVID and everything went online, and, you know, we're all behind this screen, this electronic screen, and people working from home. It used to be you'd go to your office or you go to a place and you could interact with people in real time, and there was this sense of being together. Now, many of us work from home. I work from home. I do my stuff over the internet like this. I teach over the internet, you know. But I love to go out and play a session. And why? Well, because there's a community. There's a sense of we're all here together in this sacred sound space. And that means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the people out there. So don't worry about AI. Don't worry about it infringing upon what we do. Like I said, I'm sure there will be recordings, but they'll be just that. I know there's binaural beat stuff out there that's all put together and that. But it's not the same as the real deal. It's not the same as me playing a gong. And sitting here, I can feel that vibration. I can hear it. I can feel the vibration on my face. It's like, that's what we want. That's why people come to us. Whether it's a one-on-one situation or it's a group situation, people come for the vibrations. That's why I do this, is for the vibrations, you know. I could sample all my instruments, and, you know, I could just have some drum pads and my MacBook with my samples of my gongs and bells, and I could just go out and have, you know, a couple of speakers, and I could do a session and I could play all these sampled sounds, but it's an imitation. It's a facsimile. It's not real, and it wouldn't have the same effect. So remember, there is no artificial intelligence. It's a misnomer. It's a term that companies have used to sell you product. An algorithm does not think for itself. It only goes by the programming and what is put into it, and then it scrapes a database and spits something out. That's all. Now, I use AI in my work. I'll probably use it on this video. In DaVinci Resolve, in Logic Pro, my audio program. DaVinci is the video program I use. But even within DaVinci, a lot of times on the audio, I will clean it up, especially if I've been outside with a walk and talk video or something. I'll use noise reduction, voice isolation, all these sort of things to clean up the sound. Even here, sometimes it's noisy, and I'll have to use some of that to take the noise out. So I do use AI stuff in my audio and video all the time, but as an assistant, not as the creative part. The AI never creates for me. I use it as a tool to help me in what I've created. Usually some sort of audio and video cleanup, color, noise, things like that. So use AI as a tool. And remember, that's all it is. It's a tool. It can't do the thinking for you. It can't do the creating for you. Even if you type in all these prompts to have it spit out art or video or audio, it's not creating it. It's just looking at other stuff, thousands and hundreds of thousands of things that it's scraped and put in its database. It's looking at that and going, okay, we'll pull this and this and this and this and mash them together. That's all. But use it wisely and don't be afraid of it. And I like it as a tool, and I look forward to being better able to do things in audio and video with the help of AI. But I don't want it to create for me. I don't want it to give me ideas. I had to laugh when I went and bought a new phone, a new iPhone, last April or so, and at the Apple store, the guy is like, yeah, it's got AI and it'll write all this stuff for you. And he gave me an example, and I'm like, I'm a writer. I don't want this to write stuff for me. I don't want my computer to write stuff for me. I don't want to give it ideas and say, computer, spit out an essay or spit out a chapter about this and give it some ideas and it'll fill it all out. I don't want that. That's not being creative. That's not creative at all. I want to do the creation. But if I need it to help clean up things, basic spell check is really AI on your computer. It goes through and it goes, oh, this word is probably wrong. Let's fix it. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't use AI in writing my books at all. I'm working on my next book. No, I don't want AI to help me write it. And because I'm a writer, I'm a thinker, I'm a creator. So I want to create everything. All right, enough ranting for today. But just remember, use AI as a tool. Don't pretend that you are a creator if you're using it to make everything. But use it as a tool to help you after you've made things. And play your instruments. That's what people want. They don't want to hear recreations of what we do. They don't want to hear some sort of a weird program that you've typed in. Give me a gong bath with a 36-inch wind gong and a 40-inch Paiste gong and crystal singing bowls tuned to 432 hertz, A through A octave there. Yeah, nobody wants that. Okay, rant's over. Thanks for coming to my cup of talk. We'll see you next time. Go create.